right, finally, you want to talk about power of the people and somebody who works for the power of the people and not the corporations. We're going to close out here today with a councilman, Doug Shields from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The first place, the Ben right? This man is awesome. He's on fire. I've seen him speak a couple times. Doug Shields, thank you.
You're supposed to bring your microphone back. He's occupied the microphone. That's all right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Douglas Shields. I'm a member of Pittsburgh City Council from the city. It was the first city in the nation, if not the world, to ban fracking operations. 1 year and 2 days. On November 16th, the Council of the City of Pittsburgh, in consultation with you, the people, decided after we did our due diligence, we looked at the matter, and we found this to be a detriment to the health, the welfare, and the safety of the people of our city, and certainly the people of this Commonwealth. And yet, a year and 2 days later, we have only begun this fight. Believe you me. You have a state assembly. How many people are not happy with their government? Raise your hand. Go on and look at the mayor. You're the government. If you're not happy about it, then more than being on a campus demonstration, you need to think about running for office. You need to get engaged in the political process. This will not be solved on Facebook. This will not be solved in social networking. It will not be solved here on the steps of Old Main. It will be solved at the ballot box. It will be solved at the local level of government. It will be solved in the state legislature, and it will be solved in our institutions that are designed to protect us, such as the Department of Environmental Protection, which has been handed over to a secretary named Kranzer, who was a coal baron. I can't think of the worst guy in the world to be in charge of protecting our environment. So that is my charge to you today, to get involved. I'm 58 years old. I remember back in reading in the papers in Madison, Wisconsin, when we were protesting the Vietnam War, and the students there took over the town. You have the power to do that. You have the power to shake it up beyond standing here today with us, and I thank you for all coming. But let's think about this. Let's think about what our state legislature has done. They have been bought and paid for by this industry. Nationally, the drillers have spent over $762 million infecting our political process with their influence. 2 weeks ago, the Pennsylvania Senate passed another bill that maybe you didn't hear about, authorizing the Department of General Services. Did they do that already? That's a plot, I tell you. But they also authorized a bill that you should become very just as much as aware of, Senate Bill 1100 and Senate Bill 1950 and the actions by the Delaware Water Commission. And that Senate bill is weaving its way through the legislative process, and it did this. It authorized the state's Department of General Services to enter into leases with any state-owned property, state prisons, state hospitals, anything that we own in common by the people is up for grabs now for leasing as authorized by the Senate. That bill went through 47-2. Jim Furlow from the city of Pittsburgh voted against it, a Democrat. Another gentleman who's a very right-wing conservative senator voted against it. And what that bill also authorized, and this affects you directly here on this campus, it also authorized the state system of higher education to do any state-related universities are permitted by that act to lease land. Do you want drills on your campus? Do you want benzene in your blood? Do you want to breathe air that is not pure and healthy? Do you want water that is infected with the waste streams of the drilling companies? Of course not. But who asked you? our institutions of government have abdicated their authority derived from you, and without your consent are drilling in Buchanan State Park just up the road here.
Doug for president!
Yay, okay. Maybe we'll shoot for that. But think about that. Where are your institutions of government? Go read the Pennsylvania Constitution. This is not convoluted legalese, it's plain English. Article 1, Chapter 27. You, as a citizen of this comment, have an absolute right that no one can take from you, the right to clean air, the right to clean water. And furthermore, it states that the lands held in common by the people are there for the use and enjoyment of the people and the preservation of the natural state for now and for generations yet to come. So I don't remember anybody from my government, the one that I'm not happy with either, from my government that came and sought the consent of the people, that held hearings in our towns to explain to us what it is that we're sitting atop of, this giant that is the Marcellus, this giant that has taken over our lives, this giant that has imposed its will upon the people through its institutions of government that never sought your consent, that never sought your permission to take these assets held in common, held in trust by our institutions for our sake, and then gave it away. I don't remember getting one phone call, one email, one message, not one state hearing of a state legislative committee or Senate committee came to Pittsburgh and said, we are your institutions of government. Somebody came knocking at our door and said, we want to drill. And because we worked for you, we did our due diligence, and here's the things that we're concerned about. And we're coming back to you, the people, to have a discussion about that, how we can best deal with this matter. They came here in 2003, ladies and gentlemen, and today we are only now, quote unquote, getting it right, according to them. And we all know that the bills that were put forward in the Senate and in the House were written by the Marcellus drillers, the energy companies, those most trustworthy of corporate citizens.
Criminals!
Criminals is correct. And how they have gamed our system of government, how they have had the temerity to trample our inherent rights as enumerated in the Constitution of Pennsylvania, that these rights in Article 1 are inalienable and cannot be given away and cannot be subsumed by the transgressions of others. We have an obligation to question that process. We have an obligation to challenge those. And I wanted to list you what I wrote to the Senate and a conclusion. Basically, it was this. And my comments to them were about how do you give away the authority of local government? Why have it? That every time I write legislation, I got to run to the Attorney General and go, may I? May I? Who died and made the Attorney General king?
Yes! Yeah.
We see problems. And here's what I said to the Senate. And what they're doing now is the presumption that they did get it right, when we know, in fact, they did not. But here's the problems we see that they have yet to address before they even get to the idea of creating some sort of regulatory climate and legal climate in Pennsylvania. We see problems in the mortgage industry, that people cannot get their homes refinanced on leased land. That's a fact that no one has dealt with in the Senate. We see planting of unsubstantiated, quote-unquote, environmental extremists, reports by the disgraced International Terror Response and Research in Pennsylvania Homeland Security bulletins. How did that happen? The elimination of the fundamental rule of government and its ability to implement zoning codes. The conflicts of interest on the part of local officials who have leases or are employed by these companies are doing wholesale authorizations at the local level without disclosure of the conflict of interest and without recusing themselves as they are required by the state to do so under the Ethics Act. The environmental degradation and lack of any cogent regulatory climate to address legitimate concerns. The public safety challenges, costs associated with emergency preparedness and drilling-related incidents. 6% of these wells statistically go to your engineering department, blow up. And if you get to 50,000 wells, that's 3,000 well fires, folks. Where are our local first responders left, and where's the local government who has to take assets and move them into public safety? My fire department is not trained to put out a well fire, and I dare say probably 95% of the state volunteer companies are not similarly trained as well.
That's right.
The behaviors of the industry designed to purchase political support and institute campaigns of disinformation. No consumer protection or informational programs from the AG's office. That's their job about what you should know about leasing. You're thrown to the wolves. Caveat emptor. You're off on your own, folks. You got no help from your government. The leasing of lands, parks, forests, and state lands. Lands held in common by the people without their input, comment, or consent. No statewide public hearings on significant pending legislation, such as Senate Bill 1100, such as House Bill 1950. No one's coming around to explain to the people what it is that our representatives had decided to do without our consent. These are only a few of the matters that I see as significant policy issues that are related to shale gas extraction in Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a long, slow fight. There will be no big flash of shining moment of enlightenment. This is going to be done at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. And I ask you all to participate in those processes. As corrupt as they might be, shed some light onto the process. And I ask you all to get involved and be prepared for the long haul, because these people on the other side of the fence aren't going to walk away from $1 trillion. And you can't walk away from the responsibilities you have as citizens. You can't walk away from your own health concerns. You can't walk away from your environmental impacts and your health risks. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today. It's my honor and privilege to come here and to be invited. Thank you very much.